Hey, folks. Uh, all the rage today and this time are these different sites that supposedly help people find the love of their life. And some years ago, what has also sprung up is sort of a niche of sites on the internet that supposedly help Christians find the love of their life. And I'm interested, I'm always interested in what folks still out on the dating scene are saying, they're looking for. And I've read and reviewed what men and women, say they're looking for. But there's multiple themes I've found in reviewing what women who profess to be Christians are looking for. And one of the themes I've seen pretty frequently enough is that these Christian women want someone who's not a cheater, someone who will be faithful, moral, honest. And sort of the interesting thing, or maybe I shouldn't even say interesting, the mystery to me is many of these women justify or advocate that fornication is okay under certain circumstances. And they are willing to, fornication, simple definition, having sexual activity with someone outside of marriage. And many of these women, they advocate or justify or excuse their behavior of fornicating and justify that, if a guy is in love with them or they're in love with a guy and they feel that they're in a serious relationship, they justify that fornication is okay. And they willingly are unfaithful to the principles of Christ. What is a Christian? Basically, you are a follower of Christ. And the roadmap that we Christians use is what the Bible tells us. And I mean, just even a quick internet search of the word fornication in the Bible, you'll find passages such as what the Apostle Paul, one of the foremost Christians who wrote probably more books of the Bible than any other of the apostles. You'll find passages such as, I think it's the First Corinthians, the 6th chapter, I think it's around the 9th verse, where it lets you know that if you're a fornicator, that you're not part of God's kingdom. And yes, God can forgive you of any sin, basically. But what I'm saying is these women that I'm saying that say they want somebody who's not a cheater, they're not saying that they fornicated and they're repenting and they're turning themselves away from that lifestyle. They still advocate, justify, it's okay for you to fornicate if you just fornicate with just one person and that person, you really love them and you're serious with them, that fornication is okay. Well, how can you forsake Christian principles regarding sexual morality, but then in your profile you say you want somebody who's not a cheater? It's like, you're willing to fornicate and you still think it's okay to fornicate because you're in love, or whatever that means. But you want a man who won't cheat on you, but you will be unfaithful to God. If you get someone who's interested in you and you or convince them, or they already believe that being in love is a good enough excuse to disobey Christian principles, what the Bible says, that's our roadmap as Christians, that being in love is enough justification to have sex outside of marriage. What do you think is going to happen when you marry that person, or even before you marry them, and they find somebody else who they think they're in love with. Well, if being in love supersedes all anything God is saying, and if they can have sex with you and fornicate because they love you, the next time they're in love, even if you've married them, then being in love supersedes even the marriage vow. You see the point I'm trying to make here? The simplest thing is follow biblical Christianity. No sexual activity before you marry, because you really don't know whether that man can be true to you if he can't marry you, if you're so in love and they can't marry you before you have passion and sex and all of that, then you really opening up yourself to being cheated on. I mean, that's the hard truth. You are opening up yourself to being cheated on, and as a matter of fact, you are a cheater. You are unfaithful to God's principles. You get my point? Hopefully you see the logic of that. If you want someone who's not a cheater, I mean, all of these profiles I'm seeing of women say, they want somebody who's not a cheater. They want somebody who won't, who will be faithful to them, who won't, lie. Well, it first starts with you. You first need to be faithful to God and His principles. And then start from there with, you don't want a cheater. You want somebody who's faithful to God like you. All right? So think about that. Think about that. You don't want a cheater, so don't you be a cheater. Don't you cheat on God.